Welcome to Sleighing.Online's weekly podcast, where we sometimes slay it.
Sometimes we don't.
We're not perfect.
We're just gamers.
Hi, my name's Red. My channel's Red the Deer, and I'm the owner and a content creator for Sleighing.Online.
Hey, this is Victoria. Channel's name is Victoria Aurora, and I'm a content creator and a community manager for Sleighing.Online.
And welcome to the craziest hype week for anybody that likes World of Warcraft. This is the exact time that is similar to Super Bowl Sunday for all the fans of the game. We have the Race to Mythic First going on right now, and also the World Championship 3v3 arenas for those that enjoy the skull-splitting PvP action. There's PvP and PvP galore going on right now. We have it on in the background. We're watching for any type of news updates that are going to be going on while we record this podcast live. We are currently recording on Saturday, so by the time you guys hear this on Wednesday, they could have already killed every single boss, and the championship would already have been decided for the PvP side of things. So as you guys are listening to this, you're getting live updates that are 5 days old. It's going to be quite interesting because we do release these on Wednesday, but like I said, we do live record on Saturday. Before we get into any of the World of Warcraft stuff, though, how was your week, babe?
Good. My week was great. We're halfway through our goal for March. I have up to 26 followers or 26 subscribers. We're going for 30, and then I'm going to buy all the DLCs for Planet Zoo. So it's been a good week.
That's crazy close. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Didn't even know. That might be more subs than I have right now.
Maybe.
You been gifting yourself subs?
No.
You
gifted a sub to Callan.
Correct.
And then Cloud subscribed, and so yeah, I'm just getting subscribers.
Yeah, we're just always growing. If you guys want to get gifted subs to either of our channels, the easiest way to do that is always follow our monthly promotions. We'll be posting about those on our Twitters and Instagrams, and of course, anyone that joins the Gilded, that is our community page. Links will be in the description below. And you join one of our Twitches and you say, hey, that was me who joined the Gilded, and we can verify that, you'll instantly be gifted a sub to a streamer of your choice or a content creator of your choice. So easy ways to get free subs. We're always gifting out free subs. You can earn those emotes, and it allows you to have extra perks while participating in chat and the Gilded itself. So please join us on our channels. We'd love to have you.
Mike, how was your week?
My week was crazy. So as everyone that's been following me knows, I've basically switched mains, which is unheard of in World of Warcraft. I've switched mains from Paladin to Hunter, and I'm not talking like for a patch or an expansion. I am legitimately talking about I am probably only going to play Hunter for the rest of all time. I've had so much fun getting this character to max level. It has been a blast. I love the rules and the way that like taming pets works for hunters and all the different collection things that you just add these variables to the class and the gameplay. And I've been absolutely destroying it. We have so many different videos and clips of me playing this past week of just one-shotting homies, which is so satisfying to be like, sniper shot, double aim shot, instant dead. Like, it's just great. I've been having a blast. If you guys want to check that out, again, I do PvP and PvE, and we'll be raiding shortly after we finish this podcast today. Hopefully, I can go on my Hunter. I doubt it. I don't think I'm high enough level yet, but we'll see what the guild says.
Yeah, I actually posted some videos on your YouTube of you playing the other day, so it's shorts, so you can watch them.
Yeah, I like the shorts. I've not actually seen most of my shorts. I feel like you make so many of them all the time that I don't even get to like see most of them, but I make the clips and then she'll translate the clips into them. So I'm assuming if they're clips made by me that I've seen them at least once.
You name them, yeah. I mean, you named the clips.
But I don't make every clip. Some people just make really good
No, I
clips.
just did the 3 that you did the other day, that's all.
Okay, so I would know what they are, yeah. It's been fun. I've been having a blast playing my Hunter in WoW, and I could not get enough of this perfectly produced esport like phenomenon going on right now, which is crazy because it seems like no one gives a shit. Like, this is the highest produced, highest value, highest quality Mythic Plus race we have ever had, with some of the most intense bosses the Mythic race has ever seen, with Halendris and Anduin being upwards to 300 to 400 attempts combined. And that's insane. That is unheard of. That was like what Jaina was, a final boss in a raid in Battle for Azeroth. And these are midway bosses. Like, these are bosses that were only 20 to 30 kills in Battle for Dazalor, and now they're upwards to like 10 times that amount.
I thought you guys were talking about how it was actually kind of easy of a raid.
It seemed like an easy bit of a raid on normal, but this is like mythic difficulty is a different level. So it's you have to think of it from the perspective of where they currently are as characters, right? Mythic is the highest difficulty of the raid. So the bosses are tuned with the idea that you are going in there with the prior experience of the fight and fully geared from Heroic. Heroic was only available for a week prior to the Mythic release, so the amount of gear that could drop from each of those bosses for these 20-man teams would be 5 pieces per boss. So it's no reason to think that this team is highly geared with heroic gear. There could be 1 or 2 people that didn't even get a heroic piece from the previous raid. So they're going in there with the highest possible gear that they can purchase from auction houses or just farm up from different dailies and world quests to be able to get these bosses down. And they're doing insane amount of damage with these small item levels. So Mythic is a lot more obtainable if you're going in with a full heroic tier set from the previous difficulty, but these guys are going in there with none of that, hardly ever seen the fights up to this point except for like the amount of practice they've been throwing at the PTR. So it's just good. And there's always bugs and there's always things that they don't expect in the fights, which is like kind of fun for them to explore. Like most recently, Liquid they have 5 hunters on their team because survival's busted right now. And each of them have a pet. And on the previous boss, Anduin, their pets bugged out the fight because they actually like pulled mechanics from the raid that they were trying to bait in specific directions. So Blizzard had to do a hotfix to make it to where pets were no longer targeted by that ability, which you would think would have been solved in testing, but it's not. And that's like part of the whole Mythic race. So they're dealing with so many different contributing factors, and they're just trying their best. It's like the best of the best players in the world going as far as they possibly can, pushing themselves to the limit, playing upwards to like 14 to 16 hours a day in the raid. It gets insane. It gets intense. So if you guys go check that out, it's literally all over Twitch right now. If it's not completed by the time this is being recorded or by the time this is being released, then please go support the World of Warcraft content creators. Team Liquid, you're my hero. I love you guys. I hope you get Jailer down first.
So this is the last raid of the expansion?
Yeah, this will be the last raid unless they drop something crazy surprising. But this is probably the last raid of Shadowlands. So the next time we will have a Mythic race will be 4 or 5 months after the release of the next expansion. So that could easily be a full year or year and a half away.
Right, and this has taken them 2 weeks, you said?
Yeah, so they've been going at it for 2 weeks. They had access to go after the first 8 bosses last week, and that was up to Anduin. Right. And they hadn't even killed Anduin, so they didn't even get the chance to be able to get the full clear and then going again.
What difficulty is available on the PTR?
I'm not sure how hard the bosses are on the PTR. They might have Mythic available. It's unlikely they do. They probably only have Heroic. The last time I did any sort of PTR testing for raids was Warlords of Draenor when I was doing the whole Guild for Hire competition that Blizzard released because they needed a new raid team for testing before the PTR. So they invited all of these guilds to go on the PTR and basically race to Mythic first, the bosses, and whichever team did the best was the new guild 100% employee Blizzard team that tests all their future raids and content. Still the same team, that's Fire and Ice. They do a good job, except apparently none of them use pets on the team because the pets had the bug earlier. So yeah, PTR difficulty could be heroic.
But there was no preparation then. There was no like getting ready to go in besides reading the notes and
basically doing it on heroic. There's always going to be those mythic abilities that may or may not be tested. Again, I'm not sure if they even let you do mythic on the PTR. But even worse than that is there's sometimes secret phases in bosses. Like the last 3 expansions, the final boss of the expansion has had a special mythic only phase, which happens at like 20% of the boss's HP. Where all of a sudden you're getting completely new mechanics.
Yeah, how do you even prepare for that?
So you'll be like, all right, we got 100 attempts. We get to 20% HP. And then it's a new phase. And you're like, oh, my God. And then you just scramble to try to figure it out. And that always adds like an extra 20 or 30 attempts to be able to figure out what that phase is and how to deal with those mechanics. And it's always like some type of lore figure or some type of really cool change to the environment that affects the entire story of WoW with those mythic phases, which is the main reason why everyone watches these. Because there's probably going to be a mythic-only cinematic and there's probably going to be a Mythic only phase for the Jailer that hopefully will give us a little bit more backstory, a little bit more extra juicy lore that most player base will never see because no one does Mythic.
But do you think that the majority of the players in the game right now know about this?
Know about the race to world first? Well,
yeah, right.
According to the viewer count on Twitch, I would say no, unless they're watching it via other standards. The Team Liquid channel only has 13,000 people watching it right now, which might seem like a lot. Which might seem like a lot, but in standards of like sporting events, like the Super Bowl gets upwards to like, I don't know, 1 billion people watch it.
Right, but you're equating esports to millions of dollars of like Americanized sports.
Yeah, like televised and advertisement, everything else. So 13,000 people is not a lot of people to be watching these.
But teams. Blizzard is hosting.
No.
Not World First.
Not the World First. World First is still just like a secret fan event that everyone knows it's happening, but Blizzard doesn't ever put any stakes on it or like help produce it.
There's the achievement. What are you talking about stakes? That's like
stakes,
the biggest
they're
stake.
Not risking money on it. They're not hosting the event.
Okay,
via
there's
channel.
still like an award, but there isn't necessarily like they're out anything for it happening.
Yeah, it's never been something that was. It's always been something that fans of the game and players of the game and hardcore players of the game have always wanted to get, is that achievement that says, world first kill or realm first kill. But it's never been something that Blizzard's like, all right, we're going to televise the race. It's just something that they've never done. But they do televise their world championship PvP tournament. So
that's
that
only
is
3v3s.
That is the 3v3 arenas, the best of the best. Currently, it's day 1 right now as of recording, and that is the lower bracket. So it's all the teams that did very, very well, but didn't necessarily get the bye, like in the playoffs with football. So currently, it's like the Golden Champions, and Team Liquid was even in that, which is even funnier because one of the people on the 3v3 arena team, Trill, is a very crucial part of the raid team that is currently running right now. And he had to step out of the progression race to go do the championship games.
Yeah, but those are quick.
Yeah, he did like 4 of them in like 20 minutes.
That's not 2 weeks worth of time. That's not weeks of playing on your computer, hours at a time, pulling. And, you said they're getting these big warehouses. They're getting these, they're all in the same room. I mean, he's working right now.
It's highest produced content for this of all time, which is crazy because Blizzard's not involved, like we said. But if you go to Twitch right now, you could literally search Team Liquid Esports, Team Echo Esports, Team Method Esports, and you'll see that they have a full broadcast team. Yeah. They have a complete server system for all of the screens so they can switch between different perspectives of the players.
Do you think he has different characters?
What, Trill?
Or does he just have like a different spec? Like,
most of them?
Do you think is he on the same character?
Yeah, he's on the same character. That's what makes it so impressive is he has a character that not only is pushing the hardest content in the game PvE-wise, but is also winning PvP tournaments.
But that's like a totally different
Yeah, he's got 2 sets of gear.
Yeah, you have to have 2 sets of gear, 2 sets of abilities.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment that most players would be dying for to have one of those. But he's doing both is crazy.
Do they have like add-ons to like keep those things separate, or do you think he's just got it down to like a?
They have so many different attachments to their game. They're practically playing a completely different game than baseline World of Warcraft.
So if you think not even a larger percentage of the people who play the game are actually watching this, do you think there's any type of anyone who doesn't play the game going to be watching this?
Yeah, actually, I would probably say more people who don't play the game watch it than people who currently play the game. I know a lot of people don't like watching the race to Mythic first if they're in a guild and they are progressing the raid because they don't want spoilers to things like cinematics or boss fights or the boss rooms. Right. They want to see them firsthand for themselves. And a lot of the people that will watch the Mythic first race are people who have stopped playing but still find the game very entertaining. So there'll be people that watch Asmongold and other people on Twitch, and then they'll watch the Mythic race at first because they don't play anymore. So they want to get that like fix of like them feeling like they still play, so they'll watch it.
Right. There's like that idea of like I'm kind of like living through you. I'm living through your progress
Exactly.
and your hard work and
Yep.
all of your dedication that I don't have because I've got a full-time fucking job and I can't play 12 hours a day like most people can. I mean, don't get me wrong, these companies have these teams that, they put a lot of time and money into, and
Yeah.
that's,
It's full blown production value. This is something like the current UI that they have for the Team Liquid page on Twitch is so well done. It shows the boss's health, the amount of pulls, their current highest pull kill or HP, the current energy for the bosses. I wish it was the UI they used in the game. I would be able to raid lead so well with that HP UI, but they're in a warehouse. They're switching the specs. It's so well done. This could easily just be something that's on ESPN, like on a TV that people would just be watching. But
we might get there someday. I mean, I would say esports has a place in society, and it's
yeah, especially as more people, our generation, like they get their form of entertainment
Right.
only specifically from Twitch.
well. See, that's why I don't understand why they don't do. Like when I went to PAX East, like there was multiple competitions at PAX East. Like why aren't they? I mean, I know conventions aren't as like big as they used to be, or like even BlizzCon isn't happening anymore, or maybe it is. Who knows?
Yeah.
But why aren't they hosting a quote unquote viewer? Why aren't they monopolizing on this is why people play this game?
I
Like
don't
this
know.
is
They-
endgame. Why wouldn't you
they do
promote
it
this
with-
as marketing?
They do it with the PvP championship, and the championship primarily has always been done at BlizzCon. Like they do about 2 a year. So there's one that's like preliminary that's off of BlizzCon that's just viewed on YouTube and Twitch. And then there's the one that's like the super big one where they invite all the players out and they do the stage and they do the introductions and it's all really well produced, and that happens at BlizzCon. So because we haven't had a BlizzCon in 2.5 years, it's amazing that it doesn't feel like it doesn't matter to them anymore. Like they're almost getting, I'm scared to say that they're almost getting to a point where they don't need BlizzCon and they'll still have a successful year. And I hate that. I want them to feel like they want BlizzCon because I
don't
love
know.
it so much.
I think BlizzCon isn't one of those things they're making money from. I think it's one of those things where it's people spend money to go to it, and it solidifies that love that people have for their franchise. But I don't think it's something that they're like, oh, I can't wait to make a lot of money on BlizzCon this year. I think it's more of like a
Depends on the business.
celebration.
It is definitely a celebration. It's always felt very genuine and real, and it's about the fans. It's not about the money. But they've always used it as a huge platform to do all their announcements.
Right.
And like we
They
said
could do that
last
digitally.
week.
I mean, they could do that. They could do a. What is it? The game, the
What, like
Nintendo
Nintendo
did.
does? The
Yeah,
Nintendo
they did a
Directs?
little like, hey, this is what we're doing. They could do that and have a live viewing of it.
Sure, but they don't. And then they just like recently have to go to the digital announcements where they're like, hey, on Twitter, these are the next 4 weeks. These are what we're announcing. And it feels so less special.
Yeah.
However, they do support the championship, like we said. So they don't support the Mythic Plus race. That's all of the content creators and the companies that run those teams doing it themselves on Twitch. But if you go to YouTube and you go to World of Warcraft's YouTube account, you will see that they are currently hosting and live streaming 5 separate channels that are all doing different
Battles, like
brackets. Yeah, different bracket championship games. So if you wanted to go support the PvP championship games, you can go check out their channel on YouTube and go watch those PvP head-to-head combat fights. But that's what they've put their money into, because that is a tournament. They give out money to the
I mean,
champion.
it doesn't even sound like they're doing anything. They're just watching other people fight each other.
Yeah.
Like, is there a list? Do they put together the list of people and the?
Yeah, they show the bracket. They show like the whole championship things. It feels very March Madness like. Like it'd be very similar to that because you see the bracket, you see the teams, and they move forward. There's like there's a single elimination for the lower tier, and then it might be double elimination in the higher tier. But it's exciting. I don't necessarily like watching the PvP one because it just makes me feel like shit. Because I'm all like, oh, he's playing the same spec as me, but he's doing like 80,000 times more damage than I am.
You're comparing yourself with someone who plays PvP probably at nauseum.
Yeah, like every day, like 9 hours a day.
And you're not bad at PvP. I think
No,
you're
I'm
very
really
good. I think
but-
it's also they have the best person also sitting right next to them.
Yeah, they're competing against the best of the best as well, which makes it such high level.
Right. Well, it just I've always said that about all the games that you play PvP games in.
Mm-hmm.
You're constantly playing against people who don't think like you. So it's like you're trying to play a game that you're like, they should be doing this. Why are they doing this? They're doing something so stupid. I would never do that. No one in their right mind would ever do that.
Yeah.
And then like it's throwing you off,
Yeah, totally
which I
messes me up.
think, you know, when you're at this high stakes level, it's almost easier to play PvP.
Because everything's very predictable. Yeah,
Maybe. I mean, maybe I
know.
don't know. I don't really do a lot of PvP, but I know by watching it, they know what they're fucking doing.
Yeah, and when we're talking PvP for anyone that plays World of Warcraft or doesn't play World of Warcraft, PvP is two separate like branches. There's the battleground PvPers, which group up in a 10-man setting and they just do objective-based things like capture the flag, capture the hill, and really fun type of game modes, but it's very intense 10v10 strategy. And then there's the main form of PvP, which is the one that's televised and the championships are, which is arenas. And it's just you and your partner, or
it's
if
not
it's 3v3.
scaled, right? It's not
scaled. It's
not
completely
scaled,
based
yeah.
off of gear.
Right.
So you have your 3 friends and versus your 3 opponents. And the arenas are very, very small. There's LOS situations, which means line of sight, so you can hide
there's like
behind
pillars.
a pillar.
There's pillars, and then sometimes there's like bridges.
There's like
and
walls, and there's different
Yeah.
ways to like break LOS, like
The
add a
maps
little
are
bit of
weird,
strategy.
yeah.
But really, it's how good can you manage your cooldowns versus the other team managing their cooldowns. When you pop an offensive cooldown, they pop a defensive cooldown. And then you just keep doing that chess match back and forth until eventually one of you pops an offensive cooldown and the other team has no defensive cooldowns left.
Right.
And we just watched one of the longest arenas prior to recording
Very
this. It was Golden Champions versus Team Unitas, and it was a 26-minute arena, which is unheard of.
Long time.
Because every 20 seconds in the arena, a effect called dampening happens where it's 1% less effective on healing. So a 26-minute arena was like 75% dampening,
Right.
which was every spell that the healers were casting was 75% less effective, and they were still able to keep surviving that way. It was insane.
It's
It was
almost
a very
like
intense game.
it was really like just a healer race then at the end.
It was, and the Holy Priest was broken, and obviously these players are always going to be playing the Flavor of the Month class, so there is some skill to be able to play
Yeah,
multiple
but how is
classes.
that? How is that possible? Like, yeah, how is that possible that you can be the best of the best in like any freaking class that's meta?
I mean, you just level up your Holy Priest really fast, and then you just get them gear, and then you start playing with your homies, and then you
Yeah,
just
but
get gear.
the cooldowns for Holy Priest are totally different than Rogue. The game strategy for
You're right, but they get good.
Paladin is different than Warlock.
Very much so. They just get good. It's very impressive. That's what makes them athletes, right? They're like they actually
They're worse
are
than athletes,
very athletes
because they're not just the quarterback. They're sometimes the running back. Sometimes they're
Yeah,
also the wide
right?
receiver. Sometimes they're
even better.
defense. Like
It's even better. All right, so we actually have an update on the Team Liquid poll right now. They're currently on poll 63 of the Dreadlords, and they're at 20%. Their best poll is 11%, and they have every person up with 3 B-reses left.
I
so
feel like
this
I've
could
been
be the kill.
seeing their health just go down to nothing.
Yeah, this boss has a very unique burn phase where both of the bosses channel this like in darkness ability where
How
they both
many
take
healers do they have though?
probably 5, I think. They're rocking 5 healers. So they have this could be the kill. This could be it. They're at 11%. They're past their best point right now. We could be live recording while Team Liquid gets their kill. They're at 10% right now. They're all still really healthy. So the mechanic is the 2 bosses, there's 2 of them, they have to kill them at the same time. Go into like this darkness mode where they share a cleave. So all damage that hits one boss hits the other one. So if you've got AoE abilities, it hits both at the same time.
No, they got 8%.
They got 8%. They're chilling still.
No.
That's a different perspective. So that
okay.
person has just a different.
Okay.
It looks like they all died, but they didn't.
Is
Their
that
color's
mana
different.
or something? Or?
7%. This could be the kill. This could absolutely be it. This is what we watch this for. So it's as exciting as overtime is for me in like a Super Bowl, because it's like, oh my God, they're grinding. They're gonna get this touchdown. They got a minute left on the
No,
clock.
it's way better because there's a difference between waiting for time to run off the clock and then there's percentage ticking down on something that you achieve versus how far your health bar is. Oh,
So that's the ability. That's the Among Us. They're gonna start taking extra damage from the AoE cleave. They can absolutely burn it here.
2 people down. Oh man.
They're at 5.2%.
Oh, those
There's 3
healers,
people
though.
dead now.
Those healers,
5%. They're pushing it. This could be it. This would be so freaking cool if they actually got this kill live while we're recording this.
I don't think people realize though, because there is a timer, right? Like there's the rage timer. Like, you have to do this not only in the amount of time that's allotted, you have to make sure all the mechanics are being done. You have to get through all the freaking phases and then get them down to like 4%, and hopefully your healers aren't out of mana. I mean, this is raiding is one of the hardest things.
Oh,
no, man, they got to 4%.
4% is Team Liquid's current best pull. So we'll keep you guys posted as we continue to podcast for the rest of this time. But we are obviously watching that very closely. I love this type of content.
3.26.
Such an exciting time to be a World of Warcraft fan. Damn. I cannot wait. I really think by the end of next reset, like Wednesday when this drops, they will probably have the jailer killed.
Is this the longest it's taken? I feel like at battle it was like right away.
Within the first 2 resets. Yeah, we're already within the first 2 resets. So it's not the longest this has taken. Firelands itself took such a long time to kill the bosses.
Right.
Like, I think Firelands was almost 4 resets for the Mythic Plus, just because Ragnarok's almost with 1,000 pulls.
Oh, wow.
We haven't had a boss that difficult in a long time.
I mean, there's people who've done 500.
Yeah, on most recent, that's why this is so exciting, because it feels like an old raid.
But see, I don't know. I'm the kind of person that I don't know how I would be able to do the same thing over and over and over
it's
and
for the
over.
Adrenaline.
But
you're
just, my thing is like, how much can really be tweaked?
I
How much could actually be being tweaked every time you pull?
If you got hit by one ability, like if you got hit by one gas cloud there, because they send out random gas clouds in random directions, that could be the difference between a pull and
That's RNG?
success. Yeah, that's all RNG stuff. So if you
how many
dodge
mechanics
that,
are like that?
There's endless amounts of RNG mechanics in every possible.
No, see, I don't know if I could do that. Then it would just be so frustrating that it like wasn't my fault and like there was nothing I could have done. Why would we try again?
You could do your rotation better. You could not mess up on a GCD. You could miss one ability. Like if you miss one ability and you take 80% chunk of your health, the healers then have to spend mana to heal you back up. That they could use that mana later on in more crucial parts of the fight. So it's like everything matters. Every single second of the pull matters. And every single spell you cast matters, because if you mess up one GCD, that could be the difference between a 0.7% kill, where the boss has like 200,000 HP left, which is like 5 auto attacks, or a kill itself. So every second matters. It's super exciting. Go check it out if you guys are interested, if it's still going on.
Oh my God, stop talking about
I
it.
want it to be better.
You're literally like promoting them.
Not a sponsor, but I love it so
money,
much.
For no money. They're not giving us any money. Like, go watch them. Just go watch them. Please go
watch them. Please make the World to Mythic First feel more important than it actually is. It's so exciting. I love the game. I want it to be successful.
They're already 2 weeks into a brand new expansion and have...
We're 4 weeks into Zareth Mortis.
Right. So there was the 2 weeks before the raid was even dropped. So
Correct.
they have 2 weeks to prepare.
They've got 2 weeks to get as much open world preparedness done possible. Like all the feast recipes.
Right.
Like the feast recipe was behind a revered reputation, which took at least
So do you think
9
they have
days of
people
play.
that just do that?
Absolutely. They have 100% a person that's whole job is to just farm reputation to get that feast recipe as possible.
Or do they just buy mats?
They probably just all buy mats. Because of
I don't get that. Like, to me, like, the strategy would be like the point of the game is to like get in there and get the stuff we need. And
it used to be that way, but before they started adding gold could be bought with money, it was that way because you couldn't buy it. Like, you just didn't have enough gold on your characters to buy it. So I think when they first added the WoW token, Method released that they spent almost like $165,000 to get the world first kill on Cenarius and Legion, and it was like everyone's like, "What? You spent $165,000 for again something that isn't broadcasted by Blizzard? There's no money reward for doing it. All they're doing is hoping to make all of that money back on their Twitch channel, which is more of the reason to go support them because these guys.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense either. Because like, what kind of return are you getting back on that?
Obviously, enough to like rent a warehouse. All the 13,000 people that are watching them right now. Like, they've gotten gifted like 98 subs in the last 5 minutes. They're in a hype train right now. So that 98 subs translates to being $385 just in the last 5 minutes. So they're making money on Twitch. Should Blizzard get involved and make it a reward at the end for the group that kills each boss? I think at least something cosmetically. Like we talked about the other day how Yeah, they get the achievement, but no one knows you did it unless they watch it or they read the statistics.
You don't get like a name title or anything?
Nope. Not at all. Really, really lame. I think what they should do, and they could do in the future really easily, is in every boss room, they put the banner of the guild that got the world first kill on that boss, period. So, like, in every room where you walk in, you're like, oh, I'm going to go kill Sylvanas. Like, right behind Sylvanas is the guild banner of Team Liquid. So everybody in the game knows Team Liquid was the person to kill Sylvanas first. I think that would make it worth it.
Doesn't even have to be a lore, though? Doesn't that, like, break lore?
No, because the lore is that Team Liquid killed her.
And we didn't.
Yeah, that would be the canon. Like, the canon would be that Team Liquid went in there and solved the problem of the expansion for Azeroth. And that would be their reward, is just their guild banner.
But then, like, why are we there? That makes no sense why we're there then.
Why are you able to kill them every single week?
Makes no sense.
That's not the
why
canon.
I don't, but that's
the
why I
canon
don't,
is that
like...
we kill them once, so the canon should be which guild does it. I think that would be so much fun.
I don't know.
It was the same with... The only time they did something like that was Dragon Soul. Back in the Cataclysm days, the faction that killed Deathwing first per a server got the chunk of Deathwing hanging in their capital city for all time. So, like, on our server, when you fly over to the Cataclysm portals, you see that, like, chunk of Ma, it looks like his jaw is just like a piece of it hanging there. That's because an Alliance guild killed Mythic, or it was Heroic at the time, Heroic Deathwing first, before a Horde guild did it. I think there was only like 9 or 7 Horde guilds that even did it, because at the time Alliance had stronger racials, so all the guilds switched to Alliance to get it done. So we're fortunate enough to have that permanent piece of history in our capital city on our server.
Does it say who donated it?
No.
That's dumb. That's dumb.
You're right. It is dumb, because there's no credit to these incredible athletes, but they should get some type of recognition. I think the easiest thing they could do is put the guild banner in the boss room of each boss of which guild killed them first, and I think that would be very, very cool and very easy for the developers to actually do.
Right. They have it already in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, like the banners. I mean, we have a guild banner right now in the game.
But they do that. When you capture a keep, your banner that you click on your cosmetic thing is the one that goes up.
Yeah, in
Heroes of the Storm.
In Heroes of the Storm, yeah, but there's also, like, there's actual guild standards that you can just purchase from the guild vendor right now and throw up and get that 10% reputation boost. People use it to farm reputation in areas and stuff. Whenever there's like a rep that you just kill people, you'll throw the standard down and get extra rep while you're doing it.
I know, and you design them too. It's
all the characters design it. They get the logo. They can choose the colors. It's perfect. It would be like this symbolic 100%. That's their standard in the room.
And it wouldn't be like in your face either.
They could make it creative.
Yeah,
like where like there's a specific wall they could put it on that no one really sees, but you can like see it as like an Easter egg. It might be an eyesore, but they could make it a little bit more fun, where it like makes it look like it should be there. I don't know. I feel like these athletes are incredible, and they don't get the proper recognition they deserve, but the PvP people do. It just feels shitty.
Well, because this is a team sport.
Versus
PvP is
like
very individual.
It is very individual. You have to be able to perform.
I mean, it is teams.
It's the difference
between...
It is
3v3.
Football and...
Tennis.
Like tennis twos, right?
Tennis twos, yeah.
We're talking tennis twos... and the individual skill that each of those athletes need versus one defensive lineman on a Super Bowl winning team.
You're a third of the team. Well, technically, you're half the damage most of the time.
Yeah.
And there's 2 damage?
You're half the damage, or like 75% of the healing.
Right. That's intense.
Yeah, that's
you're
a
100%. You're 100% part of that. It's not like anyone can. I mean, don't get me wrong. The same thing with the raid.
Yeah,
everyone matters.
Yeah,
but
and there's only 2 tanks, so you're 50% of the tanks if you play a tank role.
But I think this is more of like, these people have done this a long time together. They know what they're doing. They practice all the time together, and I think they do that as well in threes. But I just don't think. I don't think WoW finds it as impressive. They're like, of course you should be able to raid. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that. Wow, maybe the devs are just not into it. You know, maybe they just do it for the storyline, but the twos are just for, let's show off how good you are.
I think Echo killed Dreadlords. There was a bunch of people in chat spamming Echo's better. Echo did it, which would be the world first kill for Echo in this race.
Oh, what are they on right now? They're standing in front of a boss.
Echo has killed Dreadlords. They are 9 out of 11. They are the first guild to be 9 out of 11. We did not get to see that. We were watching Team Liquid at the time. So Team Liquid now is just playing catch up. So they do have the world first kill on 7 of the 11 bosses. Echo now has 1 of the 11 bosses. And then this team that came out of nowhere from the EU called Team Early Bird got the very first boss of the raid done and have not done any other boss. They literally only came in and killed the first boss, steal it from Team Liquid. So Team Liquid is 7 out of 11, or 8 out of 11, no, 7 out of 11, and now Team Echo is going to be 1 out of 11. But what's more important, having 10 of the 11 bosses.
Are there individual
achievements? Yes, there's one that
boss?
says world first kill, blah, blah, blah. Like if you were logged into World of Warcraft right now, and the moment they got that kill was live, it would pop up on every single person's screen that says world first kill, blah, blah, blah. And it goes to like the guild. It's pretty great.
But
it's
that's
really cool.
it. That's all they get?
That's all they get.
$100,000 for that?
I mean,
for an achievement in a game that like maybe a few million people play?
They're really not doing it for those bosses. They're doing it for the jailer. It's whoever can kill the final boss of the raid. That was the question I was getting to.
They're just getting to the final boss.
Correct.
Is what you want. It's not winning this match and beating another team. It's can you get through every boss? And this is 11 bosses? Why do I feel like that's a lot?
11 is a very lot. That is the largest raid we've had in like 7 raids. So what would matter more to you? To get 10 out of 11 world firsts, or to get that 1 out of 11, but it was the last one? Like you killed up to the jailer, all 10 bosses, your guild did it, and then some other guild came in and killed the jailer first. Like, would that not be the most heart-wrenching defeat? That's like going undefeated to the Super Bowl and then losing to a helmet catch.
That happened. That was real.
I don't know. You're making that up.
That happened.
That
Twice.
never happened. Nah, you're
Twice.
totally lying. Patriots didn't lose.
They did.
I don't live in that reality. They won that Super Bowl.
All right.
Anyways. Yeah, so, I mean, these bosses they're killing right now aren't necessarily the most important. They're not the golden Lombardi trophy, but they're still their guild on the world first tag forever. And whoever kills the jailer, that's really what everyone's waiting for, because that mythic phase and then also the potential mythic cinematic. So,
but they don't have any other achievements like least amount of kills or least amount of deaths or... Like,
no,
they're just trying to get the boss down.
Yep, they're just trying to get the boss down.
Interesting.
I'm so surprised that Echo did that. Liquid seemed like they were so ahead, but Echo has higher DPS. I said that watching it an hour ago. For some reason, Echo's DPSs are doing like 10,000 more damage per second than Team Liquid's are. And the fact that Liquid's even getting close to a kill shows how much better they are at mechanics. Because Team Liquid can get further with less DPS means that they're perfecting the mechanics of the raid versus just bullying the boss into submission.
Right.
So it's surprising. It's definitely going to get close. We're rounding off. I don't think it gets killed this reset. I think we still will have another Tuesday before they get to the jailer, but I could be very well surprised.
They have a few more bosses.
Yeah, that was only like a total of 60 pulls for Echo to kill that boss. Compare that to the 300 that it took Anduin to die. Like, that was...
Anduin's, like, to me, a half boss. He's a halfway through the raid final boss.
Also, Echo's hearthing out of the raid right now. Are they going to do a reset? They're going to probably reset and go into Heroic to get more tier set bonuses before they go into the next boss.
Do they have a minimum of what they need to have to go in?
I don't know. I don't know what their leaders are the ones that are setting those benchmarks.
But there's not anything like the cloak or nothing.
No, there's
expansion, right?
No.
There's nothing that needs to be upgraded as long as.
No, I mean, I kind of wish there was. I really liked the cloak, but I'm glad that.
But there's not even like an item level.
Nah, they could literally just buy every BOE on the market and have great gear to kill the boss.
So why even go back into the old raid when you can just buy new stuff?
Tier sets.
The tier sets aren't live though. I thought they weren't.
No, the tier sets are live. They only drop from special bosses. But so if they haven't killed the heroic bosses yet, then they still have a chance to go get those tier set pieces to give to their gear, to give to their people in the raid.
And you just give it to whoever needs it.
Yeah, like the mage tier set is busted. So if you've got 3 mages in your guild, then you'll go run those tier set bonuses, hope some mage ones drop, and then you'll feed them to your mages so they can get their actual bonuses so they can do extra damage and help you get a kill.
So what kind of bonuses right now are they looking for, you think, for each bot for the next boss?
I don't know. I'm surprised that they decided to hearth and reset there. I would figure that they would get a couple pulls in on that next boss, but maybe they feel like they wouldn't even have the opportunity to kill him yet until they get more gear. More evidence to leading into they're going to wait a full reset. Because every reset, you can then go in and kill every boss again for all of the same loot. So they can go through and get those more pieces of gear to prepare themselves even more for the raid.
These teams are good enough to just start all over again?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They don't save lockouts?
They might. Depends on the progression. Like, the moment they get to Jailer, I think they don't kill any more bosses. Like, I think they're like, all right, we're here, we're going to kill them, or we don't.
Right. So when you go into a normal raid, you can either keep the lockout the furthest you've been to or start over.
Correct.
Right. So if you keep the lockout, you just keep hitting your head against the wall.
Yeah. You don't get to loot any more gear from those bosses that week, but
you can keep trying.
You can keep trying on the boss you are on.
But you'll still get the achievement. It doesn't have to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because all in the same week.
Yeah. It's
you're
whoever,
not getting anything from
Jailer.
doing it.
Jailer could die in 5 months from now. Whoever kills him first will get the achievement no matter what the time frame is.
Right, I know, but like the more pulls you do within 1 week, you can only loot it once.
Correct.
I guess I'm just missing it. I guess I'm missing the going back and getting gear that you can't get.
They hadn't done it yet.
Oh.
Since Tuesday,
so
they've
just
only
been going
mythic.
They haven't done any progression besides
that would be the reason why they're going into heroic. That's why it's surprising, because I would have thought they had already cleared heroic completely.
They don't have people doing that?
No, because they have to be the ones that loot it. Their characters have to be the ones that loot it.
It is within the group. It has to be within the group. That's right.
So if their raid team didn't do heroic, then they can go back and run the entirety of the heroic raid to get gear to be able to push mythic further.
Right.
But again, only 5 pieces drop per a boss. There's 20 of them, so there's very good chances that you won't get a piece of gear through an entire raid.
Well, they're killing 20 people?
Yeah, there's only 55 pieces of gear that drop in a raid from all 11 bosses. There's only maybe 2 or 3 tier set pieces per the special bosses. So we'll say 12 tier pieces per raid. And there's 20 people. And you need 5 pieces per person to get the full bonus.
So how do you think they're even able to do that in 2 weeks then, besides...
Because they're just skilled out beyond the mind of any person. So the tier sets
aren't necessary is what...
To these athletes, it's not.
Right.
To the normal person, to me and you, yeah, there's not a chance we'd be able to even get close to killing these bosses without those extra bonuses. That's what makes it so incredible. Is like they are so fucking talented at the game that they can go in there without... Like, it's like football players not wearing pads.
Yeah.
Like they're just so talented at the game that they will never get tackled, so they don't need the pads.
So do you think that having just a certain item level isn't necessarily required then if you're
I've
good
never
enough
thought
at
that.
the game?
I've always thought item level was a dumb requisite that all of these guilds put on members. I think every boss will go down based off of skill, not based off of numbers, because the enrage timers are so long nowadays, and an enrage timer is the amount of time, an enrage timer is the amount of time you need to kill a boss before they, quote unquote, enrage and instantly wipe the whole raid. So, like, a boss will have a 12-minute enrage timer. So from pull to kill, you have a 12-minute window to do as much of the boss's HP to kill him without not doing that. So that's where the item level comes in. If you don't do enough damage to fully deplete the boss's health in that 12-minute window, then you will never be able to kill the boss. Okay. However, because they're so long, generally guilds wipe prior to even getting close to the enraging timer, just to other mechanics, because they don't know how to do the mechanics perfect. If you can do mechanics perfect, you'll survive them every time.
But see, that makes no sense, because in a normal guild, I would say, just because you killed something once on a mythic difficulty does not mean you're going to be able to come back next week and also kill it again on a one-shot.
All right, so Echo is now pulling the final or the next boss. They are going for the 10th boss in the raid. So they did not go back into Heroic. They actually went into Heroic and killed the first boss of Heroic, probably to go for like a trinket or something, and then they just hopped into the Mythic raid again. Now they're going back and trying to get some more progress on this final Mythic boss. That's crazy. So That's their raid leader, their guild master is making those choices, and they're doing that. So this is very exciting stuff. I love it. We can try to transition into like the PvP things if you want to, because we've not really talked about it. We kind of have, but not really.
We've been kind of jumping back and forth. I find it very interesting that they broadcast and support financially one of these. I mean, I guess it's more of a competition versus just a who could do it first kind of thing.
Yeah, even better than that is the money that they're raising is forcing the players to do fun things. Like Team Liquid's doing like a fundraiser. If they get $25,000 total raised in donations, not in subs or biddies, but in donations, then they'll play a game called Egg Roulette, where one of the eggs is a like
raw egg.
No, raw. It's the raw egg thing, and then the other eggs are
hard boiled.
Yeah, that's fun, and they're just gonna like make the players play that real fast.
That or they're gonna do it later. I don't know when they're gonna do it, but I mean they've already gotten to 15,000, so they've obviously gotten enough. But to me, that's not $100 and something thousand.
No, Method spent a ludicrous amount of money.
Where's Method now?
Method has not been able to compete in a long time because they stopped spending that amount of money. They are running right now. Method is currently, if we click on Method,
it says Race to Worlds first.
Method is on Anduin still.
Oh,
They're 3 bosses behind now.
Womp womp.
Probably should have spent some more money.
Well, that's why people have such an issue with the buy to win. But weren't you just complaining about the PvP not being scaled for the first time?
I hate that PvP's gear based. I always have. But I think that with every game, I think PvP should never be about the amount of time you put into it. It should be about, it should be about the amount of time you put into it. But in the sense of the time you put into it makes you a better player, not the time you put into it gives you an advantage.
Right.
Like, I hate that if I play CSGO, or I love that if I play CSGO right now, I have the exact same advantage. I have the exact same skill set, the exact same ability to be as good as a pro player the moment I log into the game. Because playing the game doesn't make your guns do more damage.
Right.
It doesn't make your move faster or see things quicker.
This is the first expansion with the Covenant abilities, which totally outweighs the scales. Everything. I mean...
So when you play PvP in World of Warcraft, if you don't play from the very beginning of a season, you'll immediately fall behind in gear, and then you'll never be able to get wins because you're so far behind in gear, so you'll never be able to catch up in gear.
The Valor gear?
The Honor gear.
The Honor gear. So you do PvP to get the currency, to buy the gear from the PvP vendors.
And this is the first expansion they've even had PvP vendors in a long time.
People seemed excited about it, though.
It's great. It's a great system. I love the PvP vendors.
It allows PvPers to get gear
quickly. And I've got a full set of PvP.
Without going through the raid?
They've never needed to go through the raid. PvP has been completely separate than the raid. Most PvPers never do the raid.
But how do they get better gear?
From just PvP. Like, their PvP gear is the best gear in the game. And the way that they do that is PvP gear, at least with this expansion, will be like baseline item level 200, but it'll scale to like 275 in PvP situations.
Right.
Where the raid gear is like 265 baseline. Like the mythic gear is 265. So the best gear in the game is
you can't go in with
265 item
raid
level.
Gear. You can't go into a raid with PvP gear.
No, because the baseline item level is 200.
Right.
So that's why it scales. So,
but then could you go in with raid gear?
Technically, but then the PvP gear that only costs 200 honor is better than mythic raid gear.
That makes...
It makes so much sense.
To me, it just doesn't translate.
Why?
Because it's like, why wouldn't you just go get the best gear, and why isn't the best gear from the raid?
Because they don't raid. PvPers never raid. They don't have to raid.
Don't raid.
To make them go raid would be fucking bullshit.
Well, they would be mad.
Yeah, because they don't want to spend their time raiding. These people that are raiding right now are spending every moment for the next 35 days raiding. And the people that are doing the PvP championship have been spending the last 35 days just PvPing.
But he's switching back.
Because he's a psychopath. That's what makes him so special. That's why he's such an intense athlete. That's basically the same as someone who's like on a pro baseball team, and the very next day they're on a pro football team. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, dude, focus on one. You're psycho. You're absolute psycho.
No, it's worse. It's like he's like on a golf team. And then later that evening, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to go play football on the Patriots.
It's just crazy. Yeah. Like, it's just absolutely crazy. So, That's what makes it so intense.
Yeah, but you don't even
generally
have the
you
PvP
don't.
up, though. You don't even have the PvP up.
No, we're not watching the PvP one. I saw Team Liquid
How long
win.
does that usually last?
Well, they do a couple different
brackets,
days.
they do a few different brackets. This is the lower bracket, you said.
Yeah, this is the lower bracket to see who's going to compete in the playoffs. They're currently on day 1. They've got Cloud9 versus
Golden something.
Golden Guardians. So this is the second wave of it. So Golden Guardians is Peekaboo. That's our rogue that we really like watching.
They have more than one team then? Each team?
No, each team is made up of only 4 or 3 players minimum. 4 if they have like a backup.
Oh wow.
So Peekaboo is only playing a rogue.
Wow.
He's the only their team is a Shadow Priest, a Frost Mage or Fire Mage, a Rogue, and a Shaman. But they can only have 3 of them out there at one time.
So talk to me about how these comps matter so much to...
Well, the main reason why comps... Golden Guardian just won one of those rounds. So the main reason why comps matter so much is something called diminishing returns.
Right.
So diminishing returns is basically if you get crowd controlled, there's a bunch of different forms of crowd control. So there's stuns, there's fears, there's roots, disorients. Those
poisons too, right?
Well, it depends.
Oh.
Basically, just like a complete loss of control effect on your character, where you can't do anything, you can't move, you can't cast any abilities. And comps matter because you don't want to stack diminishing returns. So, like a paladin has a blind, they have a pacify, and they have a stun. So you don't really want to stack a comp with someone else who has those, because if I use my stun
the cooldown goes
and
off,
you use your stun, their stun has less effect because of diminishing returns. Whereas if I were to pair up with like a mage, like a paladin and a mage is really good because the paladin can use their stun and their blind, and then the mage can use their pacify and then their root, and it doesn't have DR because none of those stack with each other.
Right.
Whereas if you were to go with like...
Because it pulls the cooldown.
Yeah, you can't sit there and stun somebody 6 times in a row.
Right.
And
just because you're like offsetting.
And make it last the full effect. Like a rogue has 4 stuns. So if they use their 4 stuns, and the max that a rogue can stun someone, I believe, is like 12 seconds, with all 4 going off at the exact moment the other one ends, and diminishing returns taking effect. If I were to throw my paladin stun on them at the end of that, it would only add another second to that. Whereas it would normally be a 6-second stun.
That's like in the algorithm?
Yeah, that's all PvP is DR. So you want to be very, very careful with stacking your comps, because you also want to make sure you synergize well enough with damage type. Like if you do physical damage, the enemy team could just stack all physical damage talents. So that way they'd have a really hard time getting killed.
Right.
Or if you do a physical damage with a magic damage, the enemy team has to figure out who they're more afraid of to stack versus the other one. So someone might go more magic resistant and someone might go more physical resistant, and that kind of splits up the damage and splits up the defensive cooldowns. Because PvP has always been about who can crowd control better and who can use their cooldowns better. That is it. If you can focus so much on your cooldown management and you do a decent enough burst rotation damage, you're fine. So when you pop an offensive cooldown and they don't have any defensive cooldowns left because you've been making them pop theirs, you've been baiting out their cooldowns and such, then you'll get a kill and you win. And it's all very intense. Like arenas are way more entertaining to watch for some people because they're quick. Yeah. Like that 26-minute arena is so unheard of. They're only really ever 5 or 6 minutes. So you can eat them like popcorn chicken nuggets and just go like a bunch of them real quick.
So is that why you get a lot of the same comps in groups?
Well, no, you'll get a lot of the same comps in groups because of the flavor of the month motif, which is Blizzard has currently made fire mages and rogues so strong that there's no reason not to play them. Like, if you're going to go, well, I like to play Paladin, but Paladin is so weak on a balancing issue where like just the baseline auto attack a paladin does compared to the baseline auto attack a rogue does is at a significant percentage higher. There's no reason not to play the rogue and mage. Like that's why in the current championship games, you'll see a rogue on every team. You will see a rogue on every single team because rogues are very, very strong. There's a couple that'll be doing like wonky comps where they're going for a very niche situation.
Like a weird wombo combo or something.
There was a Resto Shaman, Paladin, Warrior. And that's so unheard of, but it's so bursty because the Warrior and the Paladin cooldowns, when they go off, like nuke for so much damage that their whole composition was basically set up a window where you have enough CC down on 2 people, and then you just absolutely annihilate the third to get a kill. And they won 2 rounds of it, but then all of a sudden the enemy team got smart and was just playing pure defensive at that point.
That only works so many times.
And if you can survive the burst window, they are completely offensive.
See, that reminds me of Heroes of the Storm gameplay too. Is like when you do a specific comp.
Yeah, Heroes of the Storm is very comp based.
Yeah.
And it's great. You can see like really, really good strategy, counterplays. If you don't know PvP, if you don't know WoW, you wouldn't know what's going on.
Well, I mean, you're not really over-explaining anything either. You're definitely talking like...
I meant like if you're watching it. If you were
watching... I don't know how you would be able to watch if you have no idea about WoW.
Yeah, if you have no idea about WoW, if you watch the PvP Championship, you wouldn't get anything that's going on. Because it's very important to like know cooldowns and rotation. Be like, oh, he just used evasion. He's so good. That was such a crazy play.
Maybe people would know like the PvP part of it, like why they're attacking each other and like... Yeah,
that they see the HP going down. And it might be exciting.
I don't know. But without knowing the abilities, I feel like it's like watching Heroes of the Storm and not knowing the abilities.
Yeah.
Like,
and then if you watched the current race to Mythic first, like you don't have to know what anybody's doing. All you have to know is, oh, that looks like a crazy big circle. Avoid that. They avoided that. That's good. You can see their HPs. They're all healthy. That's fun.
Well, and
then you see the boss's HP going down.
Yeah, and it's so much like it's a different perspective. It's so much quicker versus like seeing how, I don't know. It's like
you don't care if a warlock uses his 3-minute cooldown versus in PvP, you're like, oh my god, he just popped his cooldown. That's nuts.
I think some games translate better. Like healers, I think translate a lot better game to game.
Yeah.
Because like the healing abilities are either like, are you healing a bunch of people? Are you healing individual people? Are you, are you putting down something that's healing somewhere? I think watching the health bars stay up is a lot more impressive than from a game to game. Like if you're in a different type of game where there's healers, I think you can relate to that. But when it comes to DPS and other games, it's definitely, it's hard to relate to that type of game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also with PvP is like player names are so important. Like Peekaboo is the rogue that is on Golden Guardians, and I watch Peekaboo on Twitch. He is undoubtedly, undeniably, 100% the best sub-rogue. Actually, he's probably the best rogue in the world. 100%. He is the person that all other rogues will watch to learn how to play rogue. He has defined the class in a PvP setting. So you won't get that in the raid setting. Like, no one's watching Team Liquid and they go, wow, blank Warlock is incredible at his game. Like, it's one thing, because in raid, it's all about dodging mechanics, listening to your raid leader, and popping cooldowns during burst windows to kill it. But it's really just practicing mechanics and getting mechanics down. In PvP, it's like, that person just has to be so good.
You know the class.
In and out. Perfect.
You know everything. You know your timing. You know how to anticipate other people's classes' abilities. Yep. Like, it's just a lot.
Yep. It's absolutely very entertaining if you kind of have a good understanding of WoW.
You've been getting into PvP.
I love PvP. I hate how PvP is not scaled, going back to that callback way earlier. Because, again, I don't like that. Like, I'm on my hunter right now, and I would love to PvP with my hunter because I was doing so good in my level up progress, because leveling up, you don't play against max level, you play against people in those brackets. So from 50 to 60, you only play against people that are 50 to 59. So it kind of scales you up, and then you could fight them, and it's all an even playing field. So it's literally just who can play their character better. It's great. Right. It's less about gear. And then the moment you get to max level, it's only about gear.
Right.
And it shows, because if I were to go challenge a monk who has 96,000 HP and I only have 13,000 HP, his one Rising Sun Kick ability that hits for 15k will one-shot me, because if it didn't do that much damage, when he were to go up against a 96,000 HP rogue, he would never stand a chance. So his abilities have to do that much damage. So if you don't have gear, then you'll never stand a chance, because their gear will scale negatively to yours. You will never be able to catch up. You're on a downhill slope. And eventually the gear does plateau. But to get to that point, you only get like 10% of the amount of currency for a loss than you would a win. So if you want to just grind gear the whole time, and you're like, all right, if I just get 10,000 blank currency, it would take you 10 times as long if you lose every game. So it sucks. It's not fun. It's not fun to sit there and just lose constantly, hoping to get enough honor points to buy a piece of gear so you stand a better chance. Versus if you start early, you could immediately compete and it's fine.
Right. So who do you think you think Liquid's gonna take it?
No, I hope Liquid takes it. With PvP, it could literally be one brain slip.
Right. It's a lot different
than
the
micro push of a button and you pop the wrong cooldown.
Cloud9
and now you're dead.
seems to be dominating, but then I don't know. I think it's the bracket system is a totally different thing than getting world first. So.
Yeah, it's a very different style of game, but it's the reason why it's so exciting right now is that both are happening at the same time. Like if you like one of them, you could go watch one of them and have a great time watching that one. Or if you want to switch it up and switch to PvP for the rest of the day, you can switch it up and go watch PvP. But it's just some crazy events are happening in WoW, and I love playing my game while watching other people perfect the game. It's just fun. It's just a good time. Like just sitting there questing, grabbing herbs, and like seeing Liquid kill Anduin is like, ah.
Well, I'm happy you're enjoying it, babe, and I hope you guys are too. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. We appreciate you guys tuning in again. Little whole plugs that we have to do as always. If you guys want to check us out live while we stream, me and Vicky's stream schedule currently is one of us are always streaming on a weekday from 11 to 1 Central Time. Go check out our Twitches. Links are going to be in the description below. Or join our Gilded page to be able to keep up with all of the content creators, especially because we're going to get some new content creators that will be able to provide completely different content than currently me and Vicky provide. So join the Gilded, be able to stay in touch with the community outside of stream and outside of the podcast. And if you want to listen to the podcast live, you have to join the Gilded. So I look forward to seeing more of you guys in there, chatting it up with us on the weekend and keeping up to date with everything that we're doing outside of stream. Thank you guys so much once again, and always see you in the next one.
See ya.
Bye.